Oh no, no, not ready.
People will be, they'll come in late.
They'll still be making their tea.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I am. Just be right back.
Ian's still moaning about being on Wednesday last week. Actually, Dom's a bit sciencey. Do you want to hop on, Dom? We're talking about nuclear. Welcome to another Fortean Words, and I am the Crypt Keeper. I'm not the Crypt Keeper, it's me. And we have Hobbit and Mavfaz.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hobbit's picking his nose or something, I don't know.
Hobbit.
I love it when he does. I love it when he does this. Oh, I really want to do this show. You start the show and then he fucks off.
Oh well, I'll just say it all now, and then he can't like counter signal me. So you'll have to believe everything I say.
Yeah.
Oh, but nukes aren't real. There you are, everyone.
Right. Do you want to start?
Real,
do you want to start? Tell us why you think nukes aren't real. If Hobbit can't bother to be here for the start of the show.
Okay. So for this wondrous episode of a 14 word, we're going to discuss whether nuclear weapons are actually a thing, or are they a hoax perpetuated by the Cold War into well, not even the Cold War, isn't it? It was before that. So perpetuated by the establishment, the government, as a means of controlling.
Well, I don't know, because we have nuclear. Then we have nuclear weapons, and wasn't the atom bomb dropped on Hiroshima? That place.
Well, we'll get into that.
Where is
I've got
Hobbit
an article that
what
you
is
might want
doing?
to put on screen so we can
Go on, then.
we can read along. Put in the general.
Okay.
Yeah, just grab that on the screen for us. All right. Okay.
Nuclear weapons hoax. Right. Oh, you want me to put this up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Start talking. I'll get it up.
Well, do I have to buy you dinner first, or?
Yeah, dinner and a date. Got to be a date first.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, nuclear weapons are hoax. This was written on January 2nd, 2019, by Gina Flaws, editor at No Fake News. I don't know how reputable this site is, but it's a very concise, jumping off point.
Yeah, because there's no more. It isn't like. Is that John Rappaport's site? No Fake News, or is that No More Fake News?
Oof, there's so many fake news.
Yeah.
I don't know any. I don't know, but when I was reading this was the most concise, kind of. Because if you actually try and go and look for are nuclear weapons a hoax on YouTube or any kind of mainstream thing, there's nothing anymore. It's all been purged. Much like the flat Earth stuff as well. It's just been purged, but then have people counter signal that and say, well, that's because it's all rubbish, right? Okay, that might be true. I'd like to purge some things off YouTube, but it's not gonna happen. But
yeah. So the one I was thinking of was nomorefakenews.com.
Okay,
so I was thinking of a different site, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is some blog by this woman. Okay, so it goes. For many years, we've been told nuclear weapons have been stockpiled by various superpower countries. We have all been exposed to the paradigm that promotes the idea that nuclear weapons have made the world a far safer place, even though these horrific devices could theoretically wipe out millions of lives in a few seconds. We've been told that nuclear weapons are a deterrent to other potentially dangerous enemies of the United States and its allies, and that they are ultimately prevent wars and allow peace on Earth to flourish. Is it possible that we've been taught about this subject is based on the establishment lies? After it was developed, the atomic bomb was allegedly dropped in Japan twice in the 1946 to be exact. The bombs reportedly brought a quick end to World War II, the Pacific Theater at least. The technology was never again used in any war, through the threat of nuclear weapons against humanity and the planet had publicized ad nauseum. The only other evidence of atomic weapons being used in history has come in the form of highly secretive government tests. All of these tests have limited government witnesses, and many have been conducted underground or underwater. All of those tests could have been performed with the use of conventional bombs. TNT could have been used to fabricate any A-bomb test, and yes, conventional bombs can and do produce the classic mushroom clouds that we routinely associate with atomic bombs. In addition, the continuous threat of nukes being detonated by terrorists has been so overplayed in Hollywood movie productions throughout the years that people are now programmed to believe it's only a matter of time before one of these devices will be used against a highly populated city. Yet there have been zero nukes used in crazy terrorists anywhere in the world. This fact alone is more than a little strange. There are numerous government insiders who claim that the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed by conventional firebombings and not by atomic weapons. There are some researchers who claim atomic bombs are impossible to manufacture. The buildings that were left intact and the lack of radiation found in Hiroshima and Nagasaki seem to support this claim. Israel is purported to have a huge inventory of 400 nuclear weapons at their disposal, yet they have never detonated one device in the direction of their Arab neighbours. These are the same Arab neighbours they despise. Are they bluffing?
Oh, well, that can be explained away. That's the sanction option. They'll only fire them as a last resort. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nuclear deterrence theory, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, okay. So, with so many unstable countries...
Go on then, Hobbit. Isn't the bomb they dropped on Hiroshima isn't it actually not a nuclear weapon?
Well, they say it is. Yeah, both of them were
I thought they were atom bombs. I thought an atom bomb was different from a nuclear weapon.
No, it's
not.
Thermonuclear
and atomic bombs are both nuclear bombs.
Right, okay.
Have you seen the pictures of like the kind of human-shaped carbon stains left on the pavement?
Well, we'll get into some pictures later. Okay.
Just briefly to corroborate with what you've said, Fraser. Yeah. I did a dissertation as to cancer rates in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The reason why you don't get radioactive contamination anymore is because they were both mid-air blasts.
Oh, shit.
And they say because of that, less of the soil was contaminated.
Oh yeah. Oh, convenience.
As opposed to say Chernobyl.
Convenient, Hobbit.
Well, yeah. You know, it's that's the official explanation.
But doesn't radiation fall?
You do get fallout, yes.
Yeah.
But that's from.
Would that not seep into the ground and the table?
Yeah, because don't we have like our background radiation's gone up because of Chernobyl, hasn't it?
The nuclear fallout comes from when you've irrigated some soil, and then the dust particles rain down. So that's your nuclear fallout.
It depends on the wind, I suppose.
Yeah.
It just happened to be a very windy day back then, right? Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't drop a bomb in a fucking hurricane, would they? You know.
Just before I derail you a bit more, or rather, what I should say is,
Hobbit, you weren't here in the first 5 minutes.
Hobbit, you Snopes. Are you Snopes now, Hobbit? Is it you start off as the conspiracy theorist, but I thought you live long enough to become the Snopes?
A full circle effect, I suppose. No, what I mean to say is I want to derail you just a little bit more. Anecdotal evidence. My grandma says, yes, I remember when I was walking through the fields after Chernobyl, and I noticed that all the thistles had turned white. Their leaves had been bleached.
What, when you walked through the fields of Chernobyl?
No, when my grandmother did. I wasn't alive in, 1983.
Right. How many heads does your grandmother have now?
What? Sorry?
How many heads does she have now?
The one.
Okay.
How many heads does she give?
Yeah.
Oh! Get out the gutter.
Got straight for the knees. Straight in with a nut shot from Dom.
That's going for the juggler, that is.
Yeah. That's how you kill a circus, isn't it? That's how you kill a circus. You go for the juggler.
Get some of this magical radiation and give them all right. You know. Anyway, right. Let's.
I am going to well axe you later on, but read the thing.
All right.
Hobbit McSnopes.
Look, I believe in flat Earth, but believing that nuclear bombs are a hoax, I'm still not convinced.
Right. Okay. So continuing on. With so many unstable countries and crazy terrorist groups allegedly in existence, and so many nuclear weapons seemingly at their disposal available for sale, how is it possible that not one nuclear incident has ever occurred? What other amazing technology was revealed long ago that has never been used again, although we are constantly reminded of the accomplishment?
Did it have something to do with ovens?
Another hoax of
Did it have something to do with ovens, that technology he's talking about?
Concord.
That's an anti-Semitic canard, that article's coming
the moon.
Out there.
Yeah, magic technology that's only used once and never again, Oi, buddy.
Yeah.
Do the world leaders of certain countries really walk around the nuclear suitcases and corresponding launch codes?
I've never seen Donald Trump with a suitcase.
Probably not. And what do you think Rishi Sunak's running around with in that red briefcase?
Yeah.
It ain't the fucking economics budget, is it? Before you write, because it's a hoax, do you get it?
Yeah. Do you get it?
Yeah. Before you write all of this off as a crazy conspiracy theory, think for a minute about how much leverage certain countries possess over others because of their acclaimed nuclear arsenals. What if there are 0 nukes in existence in the entire world? Think of all the military spending that's taken place with regards to nuclear programs, and don't forget about all the money that's been budgeted by countries to protect their infrastructure from incoming nuclear weapons. Just as the elites have lied about space technology and visiting the moon, there's a damn good chance they're lying about the existence of atomic weapons. They have lied about most things people have...
Wait, they lied to us about going to the moon?
No.
This is news to me.
Wow.
Hobbit?
Yeah.
Do you know
Hobbit?
this one? I think he's stuffing his face.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this. A video unavailable. YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course. It was from Channel 4 fucking copyrighted it, so you can't watch the little video. What a surprise. Anyway. But yeah, that's the concise thing. Is like, basically it's asking the question. Okay, so yeah, the point is, if these things existed, if such technology existed like that, would not bad people get their hands on it and use it in some capacity, even if it was just a small case? I mean, look at all the bombings and terrorist attacks that happen in like places like Iraq and the Middle East, right? If nuclear weapons were a real and could be obtained, which
I don't know, plain Snopes for a second. Couldn't you also say the same about? Couldn't you say the same about nerve gas? Couldn't you say the same about nerve gas? Because I'm sure these people could get hold of nerve gas. Like, why don't they use nerve gas?
They get
nerve of them.
The absolute nerve.
Well, okay, right, okay. So we're talking about the mustard gas.
I'm just any gas whatsoever, any poison gas whatsoever. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, okay, you're right, okay. Thing is, gas is again very situational, unlike something that produces a.
Well, they did. Was it sarin gas in the Japanese subway? Weren't they? With
that was a time when it was. It has to be in an enclosed space, with not much ventilation for a gas to work, and I guess that's for a terrorist organization. Thinking like a terrorist, that would be the rates of like carnage would be minimal.
Well, it was
to say something that produces a big boom and a forceful impact.
Don't think that's the case with Fortean, because that was deployed in World War One, and the reason Hitler had his moustache was because they had to cut it short so they could fit the gas masks on their faces. Apparently,
the reason for his voice being the way it is was mustard gas inhalation. So there's. Well, apparently there's.
Don't forget the meth of it.
Oh well, yeah. Who can forget the delicious meth or the meth infused chocolate? Hey, here's the thing, right? I am going to agree with you on one thing, Fraser. How comes, like, with these terrorists, why don't they just get, like, a bunch of smoke detectors or raid a hospital for the technetium or radioactive fluorine and make a dirty bomb?
Well, this is what I was going to say. You could equally say the same about dirty bombs. I mean, a dirty bomb would be far worse than anything else, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because a dirty bomb would Chernobyl an area.
It's a bit like a dirty protest, only it works over a wider area. Dumb.
And also, it's harder to clean up.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't fancy cleaning up a dirty protest. I wouldn't say to clean up a dirty protest is easy, Hobbit.
Do you remember when Capstan got upset when he started talking about how great Charlie Bronson was? And I'd say, well, his favourite way of wrestling was naked, smearing margarine and poo over himself so that the guards wouldn't want to grab him. He always got upset when I just sort of mentioning that his favourite prison hero is not a very nice man.
I mean, who else goes in for 4 years and ends up a life prisoner? I mean, that's not a man who knows what he's doing, is it?
Well, in that film starring Tom Hardy, it's like, I fucking love prison. Yeah. It's like a hotel.
Yeah, I mean, he got out on parole that one time and couldn't wait to get back, could he?
An armed robbery?
I know someone who went to prison, and because I think he glassed someone because he insulted his dad who'd recently died, and he was chucked in jail, and he was just doing bongs in the sink, and he said it was all right, actually.
Anyway, back to nuclear weapons, which, by the way, George Bush never pronounced it nuclear. I'm trying to find clips of him saying nuclear.
Why do some people say nuclear and some people say nuclear? And some people say nuclear.
Is it like when you can say vehicle but also vehicle?
Oh, and you know what I hate is when people say ginormous, because it's just like giant and enormous smashed together, and they both mean the same thing.
Yeah,
ginormous isn't a word, is it?
No.
It's a portmanteau.
I still don't think burglarise is a word, because I've heard people use burglarise.
Burgled.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been burgled.
Is that yank term creeping into our policing then, is it?
And unfortunately, Americans are a bit dumb, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, not to offend any of our American audience, you're right, but your countrymen are a bit thick.
Yeah. Why can't you just say tap?
No, you have to force it.
Yeah. Ginormous is totally a word, it says tactical droid.
Well, irregardless of whether it's true or not, let's get back to the show. I see what you did there.
Right, where were we, Fraser?
Right, okay.
Smoke alarm bombs.
I need you to show... Okay, that's good. Right, we're going to play a game, so get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready, chat. Okay, I've got 2 images here, Hemi. One's in colour, unfortunately. Right, okay, you're going to post up these 2 images. The first one? Do the first one, right? And then leave it on the screen for 10 seconds so that chat can see it.
So you want the... Hold on.
We'll call this one's A. The black and white one we'll call A. And the colour one we'll call B. Okay?
Right, so...
You can get those images up.
Yeah, I just got...
Hey, Clint Eastwood and Dawes, can I just say that the thing which really annoys me about America is the overuse of Amazing Grace. It's not that good a song.
Right, so I need to add an image.
I'm gonna play a game. I'm Jigsaw.
Do you want to play?
While you're doing that, are you familiar with the Fallout franchise?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
You know how you've got the Vault Boy and he's always got his thumb out. Apparently, that's because if you put your thumb, if you see a mushroom cloud in the distance, if your thumb can cover the entire mushroom cloud when you put it out, then you're safe from the fallout.
Oh, so you don't need to duck and cover. You just got to...
Or as the...
Why have you had a rather large thumb?
Or as Hale & Pace said in one of their books, they said, if you look out your window and there's a mushroom too big to fit in your frying pan, you know you're in dead stuck.
Pace, Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I do like an ancient pull.
We ready?
I've never heard about this mushroom crab thumb trick.
Yeah, well, apparently that's the theory, but
Really? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
I don't know what
But
Snopes
again,
has to
it's
say
like,
about that.
isn't that kind of like, oh well, you know, some people's hands are bigger, so.
Image one is up, and image 2 is ready to load.
Right.
To
Okay.
be fair,
so
image 2 looks a little bit CGI / painted.
Somewhere in there, there's like Indiana Jones in a fridge.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that will.
Is this Dresden?
So the black and white one is A. Now, Hemi, can you change over to B?
So you want B?
Now, put
Image
B on the
A
screen.
reminds
That's
me
got a
of
bit big.
Dresden, but maybe that's like... Ah, no, that one's
Doesn't matter if you
Dresden.
just- Right. Okay.
It's like Mexico.
So, right, chat. Type in the actual chat if you
Is
think
this Detroit?
A. Which one? Which picture is Nagasaki? Type in the chat for us. Which you think, A or B?
This is going to go down a storm with the audio listeners.
Because
I
I'm looking at both. I would
Sorry,
I would
audio
say
listeners,
image
subscribe
B
to
is...
YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share.
Is this a
Okay.
trick question? Image B is Detroit. Image A was Dresden.
I'd say A
can't
is
even get-
Nagasaki.
Right, let's see.
Right. Okay.
So-
Let's see. What we saying then? Who's got the most? A or B?
I'd say A is Nagasaki and B is Nevada.
Ah. Oh, I do want to talk about the crystal found in Nevada.
Jerk crystal.
Okay.
It's in a Fortean words chat from a few weeks ago.
Is it a jerk off crystal?
Well, I don't know actually.
So what are we saying, chat? Black and white, or the colour photo is A or B? Post in chat which one is
I
Nagasaki.
can't see either because neither of them really look like Japanese architecture, do they?
That's
Come on,
why
guys,
I'm
tell
going
us.
with
No,
Detroit.
we got one
because...
so far. We got one. Anyone else?
Is the black and white one a picture of Chicago after the Great Fire?
I'll tell you in a
Slough.
minute. Right. Okay. So far it looks like people are guessing it's A.
Oh,
Look at it.
Liz had noticed that A has an Asian sign in the background.
You would be correct. Yes, A is Nagasaki after the bomb fell on it, and B is
Well,
Dresden
detonated
in 1945.
actually. Hot
Yeah.
Snopes told us that the bomb was detonated in midair.
Yes.
Sorry,
Right,
what was B?
B was Dresden from 1945.
Yeah, you can see the architecture in B doesn't look right.
Right. Okay. But here's the point, right? If you were shown those two things, could you really tell that one was done by a nuclear bomb if both of those were side by side?
I was hard pressed to
Why,
say
just-
which one's
just-
fire damage
just
and
the
which
Brit-
one's
the British-
explosion.
The British
Was Dresden nuked as well?
So basically, Fraser, what you're saying is that the RAF gets it done, whereas the USA has to show off.
Yeah, but Nagasaki was one bomb. Dresden was a shit ton of bombs, wasn't it?
That makes that's well if the damage from okay that's a good
Dresden
point,
was
that's a good
9/11
point.
times 1,000.
You're told that it was one bomb, yet the damage is conceivably very similar, right?
They were using incendiary bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki before the atomic bombs fell.
Okay, that's an even more interesting spanner in the works. And so, who's to say that the firebombing there that was done in Dresden is not the same thing? So where is this nuclear weapon needed then if the firebombing can produce the Dresden picture? Why would you need a nuclear weapon? You've already fucking leveled the place by the look of it. If firebombing can level a place like that.
All right, so
Well,
I want to
maybe
believe
it's
you.
It's just a flex. It's to say, look what we can do.
So you're saying that-
We just totally gutted you. Oh, here you go. It's
Fraser.
something we
Fraser, I'll up the ante. I'll raise you. I raise you. How does fire destroy concrete buildings like that?
Well,
Here's
How does fire melt steel beams? Oh wait.
Well, we know jet fuel melts steel beams. Everyone knows that. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'm willing to grant you the benefit of the doubt that this was fire damage. All the stuff we're seeing here is fire damage, right?
Yeah, because there was like a little girl on fire.
Why do you need a nuke then? Why do you need a nuke?
However, what about like modern bomb tests, like with the France with that atoll in the Pacific Ocean they nuked in the 90s?
Bikini Atoll.
Bikini.
Was it?
What,
Bikini.
It's
like
Godzilla,
Bikini Bottom,
is that what they're on about?
Bikini Atoll.
Hang on.
Is Bikini Atoll near Lesbos?
Yeah.
France nuclear bomb test in the 90s. Let's see if I can find it.
What the fuck?
France and weapons of mass destruction. The largest yield test they did was a 2.6 megaton bomb in 1968.
So there's my argument, right? If firebombing can level a place to that point that you're seeing in both pictures, right? Because one of them's for firebombing and one of them's supposedly after a nuclear attack. Why would you then need a nuclear attack in Nagasaki if Dresden replicates the exact same results? But then that also begs the question: then we know Dresden was never nuked, but yeah, it's the same thing. So which one is it?
So, in other words, like, well, here's an interesting thing. It's a bit of a tangent. You'll have to forgive me for this, but I think it's pertinent. There were talks on the Eastern Front of the Americans, of the Germans using terror weapons. The Russians described them as vacuum bombs, big mushroom cloud explosions. Well, they were describing thermobaric, which is a fuel air bomb. And so they create an almighty explosion, and then as the air came back in, it sucks the air out of people's lungs. So they describe them as vacuum bombs, suffocating people. And I mean, it also were mushroom cloud explosions. So that's why some of the soldiers saying, well, were these nuclear weapons? And then you got the Russian equivalent of Snopes. This was on Russia Today, by the way, saying, well, actually, no, it's a thermobaric weapon. Here's an example of America using it in Afghanistan. I didn't know this, right? Because I'm trying to find about France using nuclear weapons.
Are you looking at the? Are you looking at the? Have you had a look at the Bikini Atoll? Wikipedia.
No.
Three families were resettled on Bikini Island in 1970, totaling about 100 residents, but scientists found dangerously high levels of strontium-90 in well water. In May 1977, and the residents were carrying abnormally high concentrations of cesium-137 in their bodies. They were evacuated again in 1980. The atoll is occasionally visited today by divers and a few scientists, and is occupied by a handful of caretakers. So there you go.
Oh, fair enough. So,
right?
France detonated a lot of nuclear bombs in Algeria during the middle of the French-Algerian War.
How many people in Nagasaki today are still suffering from the effects of the nuclear
Very
attack?
few. In fact, that was the. I've forgotten my. I'm not good with numbers. I'm sorry about that. But
actually, I think they were most were evacuated, weren't they?
The cancer rates for Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not they're not anomalously high. The radiation there wasn't.
Wonder how they compare to the cancer rates of people in Vietnam after what was it?
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange is a fucker. I mean, that really does a number on them. It's worse than whatever happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which just goes to say a lot about what is a weapon of mass destruction. I mean, you would call it a defoliant, but the lasting effects of it of Agent Orange are. Oh, by the way, Agent Orange was rebranded as Roundup.
Yeah, glyphosate.
And do you know what I find funny about that? Like, the mascot on it is like this evil-looking dandelion, and in the adverts they all show dandelions being exterminated, genocided in a dandelion holocaust. But of all the plants you want in your garden, dandelions are good. They improve the soil health, and they're actually if you eat dandelion, it's beneficial.
Well, you can roast the roots and make a kind of coffee out of it.
You can also make a dandelion and burdock cordial using dandelion and burdock roots in honey, and then you let it ferment like a mead.
Did you say cordial?
Cordial?
That's better. Cordial.
You're cordially invited to taste my cordial.
Yeah, I bought some lime cordial the other day.
Oh, I like that. Was it roses?
Yes, I did actually buy the roses.
Ian said the cancer rates aren't that high, and also there's no superheroes. In Marvel, the radiation causes everyone to become a superhero.
Right. You say that, but if it wasn't for the nukes, we would have never had anime. So, what about that in terms of mutation?
Oh, how about this one then? Cancers do not immediately emerge after exposure to radiation. Instead, radiation-induced cancer has a minimum latency period of some 5 years and above, and leukemia 2 years and above, peaking to around 6 to 8 years later.
But yeah, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not death traps. In fact, the health of people there is pretty good.
Probably better than here, to be honest. Probably better than the UK on the average. Fucking.
I don't think the Japs fell for the high sugar, high seed oil diets that we experimented with.
No, just eat whale blubber, don't they?
Oh, hold on a minute. It says radiation-induced cognitive decline. Did you know about this?
Okay.
There's investigations into brain development. I can't really. It's not really appreciable. However, either side of radio-sensitive age, none of the prenatally exposed to the bombings at a late age less than 8 weeks, that is prior to synaptogenesis, or a gestational age more than 26 weeks, were observed to be mentally retarded, with the condition therefore being isolated to those solely of 8 to 26 weeks of age, and who absorbed more than approximately 0.09 to 0.15 of grey. Is it Hobbit?
Grey what? Sorry.
Grey. The units they measure radiation in or something. GY.
Funny.
It says grey.
I get really even though I had to do it like student level.
The grey is a derived unit of ionizing radiation dose in the International System of Units.
So I'm familiar with microsieverts and REMs and so this grey unit I'm familiar with.
I love science. I just love fucking science, man. Hobbit, can you explain to the audience the process of nuclear fission?
Yeah, all right, okay, yeah. So with elements
is that when you cast a line out in Chernobyl?
Why should you not wear shorts?
That's when you go looking for Hobbit's grandmother.
Why should you not wear shorts?
That's what you get with your that's what you get with your chips down a Chernobyl chippy, isn't it?
Why should you not wear shorts in the Ukraine? You
Why?
should not wear shorts in the Ukraine because you're Chernobyl fallout.
Yes.
A grey is a joule of energy absorbed per kilogram of mass of tissue. Right. Okay. So thank you. You were asking me about
fission. Yeah. What is nuclear fission?
Yeah. So if you get something, if you get an atom which is big enough, and then you fire a neutron into it, I'm sure that you could probably fire other things into it. But anyway, typically you fire a neutron into it,
and a rubber duck into it. Would that work?
Well, yeah, but on the subatomic level, then no, because
so not just anything then.
The rubber duck is like a blob of atoms, and it wouldn't because of the
one atom. It's more like a BB gun, is it, Hobbit?
Yeah, you got to do it. You put it in, and then it cracks the atom. And when you do that, you get a whole bunch of energy comes out. Some of the nucleus gets converted into energy, and when you get like a critical or a chain reaction, I should say, the force of that atom splitting will start other atoms splitting that are near it.
And does splitting the atom always result in the chain reaction and explosive force?
No. So, right, okay. A chain reaction, if you've got a controlled chain reaction, what happens is that your nuclear material is it's just getting hot.
So is it like dominoes, Hobbit, where if you don't set them up right, they don't fall over properly?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, you have to have the dominoes spaced at a proper distance together. If you put them too close together, they'll fall too quick. If you put them too far apart, you might get like some fall, but then like it won't be able to bridge the gap, and then the rest won't fall.
The way I understand it is that certain atoms can become ions. Certain elements can become ions because of the addition or subtraction of their usual amount of electrons.
Yeah, but you can have a stable ion.
Certain elements become.
So what's special about? I mean, what are they made out of? Are the bombs made out of like plutonium or what?
What? Right. So getting back to it, because I haven't fully answered Fraser's question. A critical mass event or a chain reaction is when it happens. Yeah, where it happens so quickly, it just all the energy gets released within like a split second. So it's very quick, and then you get an explosion. A bit like burning gunpowder. Like if all the elements in or I should say burning flour, because if you've got like grains, they burn slowly. But if you turn it into flour, it's an explosive, and millers have to be very careful of the explosive risk of flour. So there was another bit. You're talking about ionizing, right? So two things: ionizing radiation.
Does anybody know the date Hiroshima was hit?
Yeah, 1945.
I know it's 19. No. Well, I don't know whether you know, but Hiroshima was subsequently struck by Typhoon Ida on the 17th of September, 1945.
Oh,
wait, whoa. Wait, hold on. What was the date? It got
September 1945. I think it was in July.
Oh, was it? Oh, so it's subsequently.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure or not?
Well, I can find out.
If that
when
like,
did
literally within the next few days
Hiroshima get bombed? Question mark.
9th of August.
Right.
Drink a 1945 bottle of sake.
And you say that the weather event happened when?
September.
In September, so the month after.
Okay. All right. Okay. No, it's not.
Right, ionizing radiation ions. So, Don mentioned about ions. Yep. So, in a balanced atom or balanced molecule, I should say, it doesn't need to gain or lose electrons. Noble gases are good for that because they're not ionized. Xenon's a bit funny, but it's radioactive. We'll ignore that because it just is weird.
Isn't xenon a gas? Isn't xenon a gas at room temperature?
Yeah. Xenon is a gas, but it really should be a solid. It doesn't make any sense, and also it's a noble gas, so it doesn't interact chemically with anything. Yet if people breathe it in, they get anaestheticized. It's an anaesthetic.
But it doesn't sound like a goblin because it's radioactive in it, didn't you say?
It's fine.
Is there a link between xenon and xeno, which means alien?
There probably is. If you look in the etymology of xenon, you'll probably get saying about it's like a stranger gas or something like that.
Does anybody remember Xenon 2 Mega Blast, which was on the Amiga?
I do actually remember Xenon.
Yeah.
But so
Bob the Bass did the music for Xenon 2 Mega Blast.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
So ions, you've got negative ions, you've got positive ions. They're also described as free radicals, but all that woman science you see on adverts
about What You Give. That was a great Wonder song.
Pan-10 Pro V, like stuff like that. The free radicals, got to watch out for them. And when you detox, you're having like vitamins and minerals like vitamin C, which, by the way, vitamin C is not an antioxidant. It's both a pro-oxidant and an antioxidant, but depending on the thing, it's very strange.
It's like a quantum thing.
But it's like it's very selective.
It's Schrodinger's oxidant.
Yes, no, you're right, and it depends on how it's really like you can write books on the stuff. In fact, books have
the quantum mechanics rising.
Books have been written about vitamin C. So, but moving on to ionizing stuff, right? So you got ions.
Yeah, Bitmap Brothers game. See, Alphabet Cat knows the score. Speedball.
Positive
gods.
Free radicals typically are positive ions, and positive ions are bad because they strip electrons from your body,
I thought free radicals were hippies.
Yeah, well, yeah. So
I thought free radicals sung "Get What You Give,"
and that way,
I thought free radical made time splitters.
The positive ions, they take electrons from your body, and that's bad because it causes oxidation. Because typically, you get the ions from hydrogen, so that you releases oxygen in your body.
I always thought if you did a sci-fi game, you could have a band called Ion Maiden in it.
Also, Fraser, Time Splitters, best game ever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, ionizing radiation is different
Time Splitters is misleading because people bought Time Splitters, but they thought they were buying Time Crisis.
Were you? Is that what you thought?
And I'm like, my fucking light gun don't work with this. It's bullshit.
So
why is there a goldfish and a robot?
Briefly,
briefly, so small?
Briefly, negative ions, that you also get them as well. You get them when you go near the beach because of the surf. You get them in bodies of running water like rivers and streams. Forests. Forests have that's low frequency oscillations apparently cause hallucinations.
Ghosts full of water because a lot of haunted houses have running water underneath.
Yes, which causes low frequency oscillations. But we should do that. We should do an episode about LFO. Yeah. Oh no, content strike means we can't use LFO as the theme tune because that would be really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, negative ions are good for you because they usually stop the effects of oxidation and ionizing.
Negative calcium ions and there's positive potassium and sodium ions. There's an exchange between them.
Yeah,
which makes your nervous system work.
Yeah, so you need a balance of electrolytes in order to balance out the ionic exchange.
Yeah, because if you eat too many bananas, your electrolytes disappear or something, don't they?
Well, you get too much potassium in your body.
No, it affects your electrolytes as well. Because I know a guy used to have kidney trouble, and he was saying,
is it because you need a calcium?
He was a great guy. He'd go dialysis, then he'd go spoons afterwards. Get fucking leathered.
I think in the case of that, it's like, if your electrolytes are out of whack, basically your body needs to leach calcium from your bones in order to buffer the other salts. Ionizing radiation, I'm sorry, I will finish this, Fraser. It's just keeping interrupted for some reason. It's the nature of the show. Ionizing radiation, ultraviolet light, and anything above that, it is powerful enough to that it can cause ions to appear in organic tissue.
So what actually happens inside the bomb then, Hobbit? Do you know what happens inside the bomb?
Well, we talked about the critical mass reation. Oh, you were saying how to make a bomb?
I mean, just like how
do you activate it?
Yeah, how physically does it work? Like, there's a timer goes off, and then bang, it pops an ion into the domino line.
The way that the ion is popped into the domino is that you force two non-critical, so subcritical masses of plutonium or weapons-grade uranium together, and you've got to hold them together so they can complete the reaction. And the way that it was done in the first few bombs is using a chemical explosive to force the two halves of a sphere together. And I think there was another one where it's like a cone and a rod.
It was kind of like, in a way, firing a bullet out of a gun.
Literally it is a plutonium bullet into a plutonium crevice.
Right, okay.
We're on government lists now.
Are we?
Now you've just explained that. Although we probably were about Clinton.
Better hide the manual on how to make an atomic bomb.
God, can you just imagine like some sort of kangaroo court saying like, and this terrorist group, listen to your 5-second explanation of how an atomic bomb works, and then we're able to make an atomic weapon.
And we also found the Xenon 2 Mega Blast on that. we also found they were playing Xenon 2 Mega Blast through Dom Simulator.
Yeah, we used an Amiga to make an atomic weapon, Your Honor. Yeah.
What are we going to get?
Thought we were spreading science and humour, but instead we were spreading fear and terror.
What are we going to get done for worse?
Your Honour, the terrorists were found with Pymiga in their possession.
What are we going to get done for worse? Like talking about how to make a nuclear weapon. Hello, Susan Majicki. Or copyright strike for using LFO's song LFO in an episode about ghosts.
Both.
Yeah. By the way, next week we might be doing LFO.
At least we haven't mentioned Sandy Hook.
Oh yeah. Also, there's fluoride in the tap water. So distill your water, but not when fasting. Put some salt in it.
Right. Okay. So, long explanation of Hobbit's fucking.
It wouldn't have been long if it wasn't for you, Hemi, and Dom.
Hobbit loves the taste of his own medicine, don't you, Hobbit?
Right?
Not at all. I hate it.
This is the layman version, yeah? You make particles go smack, smack.
Yeah,
right?
That's it.
And they go boom, boom, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Well, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works because in 2012...
Why would you do such a thing?
Yeah.
Scientists at the Bonn University...
Are you Snopes? Are you authorised to be able to throw this spanner in the works?
Well, let's...
Are you going to actually yourself?
Well, yes. Well, no, I'm going to... Well, actually, quantum... No. Well, actually, nuclear physics, okay?
Nuclear.
Right,
Nuclear.
Okay. So, researchers from the University of Bonn have just shown how a single atom can be split into its two halves, pulled apart and put back together again. While the word atom literally means indivisible, the laws of quantum mechanics allows dividing atoms similarly to light rays and reuniting them. The researchers want to build quantum mechanics bridges by letting the atoms touch adjacent atoms while it is being pulled apart so that it works like a bridge span between two pillars. The results have been published in the journal Proceedings of National Academics of Sciences. Dividing atoms, what sounds like nuclear fission and radioactivity is, however, a precision process using quantum mechanics. The laws of quantum mechanics allow objects to exist in several states simultaneously. This is what the so-called double slit experiment is based on, where the particle can go through two slits at the same time. The Bonn scientists, working with Professor Dr. Dieter Meschede from the Institute of Applied Physics of the University of Bonn, succeed in keeping a single atom simultaneously in two places that were more than 10 micrometers or 1/100th of a millimeter apart. This is an enormous distance for an atom. Afterwards, the atom was put back together undamaged. Now, Hobbit, can you explain to me how you can split an atom into its halves and then put it back together undamaged without it creating a nuclear...
I know the answer to this one. You rub your hands together until they become sore. When you got a saw, you can cut the table in half. You put the table back together, it becomes a hole, and then you escape through the hole.
Actually, no, I can't explain it because
Science Man in his journal in 2012 says that they did this through quantum mechanics. And
it's easy. You just have a really small tube of super glue.
But nothing bad happens when you split atoms. So even though atom means indivisible, what does indivisible mean, Hobbit?
Oh, Hobbit, Dom's got another use for distilled water. Clean your computer screen.
What about IPA?
So when we're talking about nuclear fission and splitting the atom, is this the same? Is this the same effect?
So my understanding of nuclear fission is you split the atom into two smaller parts, and then you get a whole bunch of alpha particles which are escaping protons and neutrons flying out. Right. So even if you were to recombine, like, let's say you had...
They did, and it was undamaged. What does undamaged mean? It was the same as it was before, right?
So they managed to split it, a huge amount of energy and alpha particles released,
the
and
energy
then...
What is Newton's... is it Newton's first law?
No, it's a law of thermodynamics about energy cannot be created or destroyed.
So how did the splitting it and releasing that energy then, Hobbit, if that's what nuclear physics is about? How do you do that without, and then putting it back together being undamaged with the same amount of energy that would have escaped?
I'm hoping this is a rhetorical question. You can carry on and give me a link to it, so I can read it.
I'll give you the article. Yeah, you can.
So I can one actually myself.
Hey, what did the pilot of the Enola Gay have for his dinner?
Dinosaur bones.
Nuclear fission chips.
Oh!
If energy can't be created or destroyed, Can't the sun create energy with nuclear fusion?
But what it's doing there is it's just converting the energy in the hydrogen and helium into another form of energy.
Yeah, because it is going to run out. It is going to run out at some stage, isn't it? So it's not creating.
It's ramping up. It's ramping up the energy, creating more energy.
Actually, no. It's not. It's not creating more energy. You see, it's when you convert like deuterium into helium, you're losing. I think it's a neutron. No, you're losing a proton somewhere and turning it into a neutron, and you're giving off a load of energy and things. So you're losing some matter, and then you're gaining that. But, actually, I'm going to. You guys, when it comes to the sun and the nuclear fusion, it won't run out. It's that it will get so heavy and its ion content will increase that eventually becomes unstable and will go nova. If you're able to siphon mass out of the sun, you could prevent it or postpone the nova date.
Okay.
So hang on, it's creating more complex particles. So it's creating energy, but it's losing energy through the heat.
It's not creating them though, is it? Because there's only a finite amount of particles in the sun, isn't there?
Using nuclear fusion, you can fuse simpler atoms together to make more complex atoms. So typically what this does is it turns hydrogen and deuterium into helium, and in the process you lose a couple of the particles in the nucleus. I'm going to say it's a proton, and in exchange the particles which are annihilated are turned into energy. But
then it's creating more particles going up different atoms going up the periodic scale. And it's a kind of nuclear reactor. And then when it explodes, you get the kind of more complex ones.
Did I hear it wrong? When something decays, it can actually become another element.
That is correct. Yeah. Eventually, the radioactive things, they all transmute into lead.
Yeah.
Why lead? Who knows?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's kind of like alchemy in reverse, isn't it? It's weird.
Oh, that's the secret of alchemy is just to make everything radioactive then.
No, turn it all into lead. That's the secret of alchemy.
Well, no. With alchemy, you're trying to turn lead into gold, right? So technically, you'd be making it radioactive, right? To get it to.
Maybe we should do an episode about alchemy and talking about monoatomic gold, because that's like the philosopher's stone or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to where were we with nuclear?
Right. Okay. So do you want me to keep reading because some of this stuff is
we've got some discussion points. So,
I've just read the first paragraph as well. It sounds like it's theoretical. Like this is what we want to do, not this is what we have done.
Is this putting is this working out whether sharks sleep or not again? Is that what this is?
No, because that's probably more concrete science.
This is kind of theoretically disproving the splitting of atoms. Nuclear fission via quantum physics. Now they're using quantum physics rather.
Well, Fraser, just to skip ahead a bit, because you're probably going to mention this. What about the theory that these are conventional bombs, but when you put them at certain ley line intersections at certain dates, that's what causes the amazing
that is one claim, isn't it? I can't remember the guy's name. What was his name?
Well, there was actually a whole storyline in the Spawn comic about this. That
you can only use them on
the atom bomb was dropped. The bomb was dropped on Hiroshima to open a portal to let demons through.
Oh well, that bit I could believe.
And Houdini was trying to stop it. Yeah, that was a pretty good run in the early Spawn comics.
Tries to stop it.
Yeah, it's in the early Spawn comics. It's around 17 to 20, I think.
Okay.
I really would like to know, how is it that by shining a laser onto an atom you can cool it?
Ooh.
So, I mean, surely if you shine light onto something, you're going to energize it. Because when light gets shined on me, I get energized.
But do you
turn
get
that fucking light off like that. I'll be like that kind of energized.
I mean, is there ever a time when you could shine a light on someone and go, "Oh, that's making me a lot cooler, thank you"?
Yeah.
Maybe. You tried moonlight.
Yeah, that's another episode.
Good.
So, but back to how do nukes really work then?
Right.
Fucking
okay.
nukes.
So
Fucking nukes. How do they work?
I'll finish this because this goes into I think this is just science man doing. Oh well, we can think this up.
Look at this stuff we've made up that could possibly happen.
Yeah, we're shitting all over on previously established facts about certain things, right? Okay. So the atom has split personality. The fragile quantum effect can only occur at the lowest temperatures and with careful handling. One method is cooling cesium atom enormously using lasers to a temperature of a length of 1,000,000 above absolute beams. Zero, and then holding it with another laser. The laser beam is key to splitting the atom. It works because atoms have a spin that can go in two directions depending on the direction. The atom can be moved to the right or the left by the laser, like on a conveyor. Key is that the atom's spin can be in both directions simultaneously. So if the atom is moved to the right and left at the same time, it will split. The atom has a kind of split personality. Half of it is to the right and half to the left, and yet it is still whole, explained Andreas Stefan, the publication's lead author.
This doesn't make sense. This
is quantum physics. You don't have to make sense. You just talk shit.
This is made up physics.
Yeah, you talk shit, except when the episode on telepathy, where I was saying that quantum entanglement could be an explanation for this process.
For demons, yeah, okay.
No, not demons. People I love, I start thinking about, and then suddenly I see them. Demons. Or they talk to me.
Demons.
My friends are not demons.
Demons.
Shut up.
Parts compare the parts compare their experiences is titled, but you cannot see the split directly. If you shine a light on the atom to take a picture, the split will collapse immediately. The atom can then be seen in several images, sometimes on the left, sometimes on the right, but never in both places. And yet the split can be proved successfully.
Is the atom
back together?
Is the atom doing the cha-cha slide? Is it?
But they can't prove it until they put it back together.
Crisscross.
Do you know? I'm going to tell you a story that used to happen to me as a child, right? And because it makes as much sense as the logic in this bullshit, right? So as a child, there was an insomniac dog in one of the neighbours, and he used to be barking all the night. And I would have nightmares that the dog would somehow manage to get through one of the cracks. And so this is, I'd insist, like, all the doors.
But is the mysterious incident of the dog in the night time, is that autobiographical about you?
I would have nightmares when the dog was barking that it was running up the stairs, tear me to pieces. And then my dad said, "But how are you here intact?" And I was like, "Because another dog put me back together again. A good dog." Because I like dogs, but I just, for some reason, have nightmares about these dogs. So this is a thing about, like, it's split, but if you try to observe it, if it's split, but if you try to observe it, it will be unsplit. It makes as much sense as, well, I'm definitely got torn apart by this dog because I definitely saw that in my dream. But then when I wake up, I'm whole again.
I can make you whole again.
Maybe it was the same dog. It was in just two different states.
What? So there's this quantum state. It's either tearing me apart or put me back together again. It's Schrodinger's dog.
No, you're Schrodinger's. You're the Schrodinger's thing, aren't you? Because you don't know what you
but Schrodinger's got a
hobbit. Has he been ripped apart by the dog or not? Until you don't know whether he's been ripped apart by the dog or not until his dad observes him. That's Schrodinger's hobbit.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was absolutely convinced in it. I mean, it was paranoid. Like every single night, dog would be barking, same nightmare. And it was horrifying, and it's like you can't really explain to a kid because you believe.
Well, the other dog putting you back together. That's some weird shit. That is a bit.
It was literally one of those. I've got to explain it away because my dad's asked me for a logical explanation, and it's like, well, that's the bullshit I came up with, which is the reason I mention that is because this thing of like, well, if you try and observe it, it will be unsplit. But when we don't look at it, it's split. And I'm just like, mate, come on.
Welcome to the world of quantum physics! Okay.
I mean, I know the double...
world of tomorrow!
The double slit
World
experiment.
of tomorrow.
The double slit experiment is weird in regards to this, but you know,
What's the
come
double
on,
slit
guys.
experiment?
Yeah,
Sorry.
but they can't even observe the split, right?
The double slit
Sorry to
experiment
get
proves
back
the
on-
observer affects the outcome.
Sorry to get back on topic, guys, but I've just posted a link to the VADA tests. They set off a bomb and troops walk towards it.
Didn't they do the similar in Bikini Atoll? They had the guys looking at it, didn't they?
Why don't you just go on a holiday to Bikini Atoll if you love it so much? I mean, this is the 6th time you've mentioned it in this episode.
Well, nobody seems to be picking it up. That's where they actually did fucking tests.
Just like bikinis.
Oh look! Oh look! Oh look! Who is looking after it now? Have a guess.
Oh, is it Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh fuck! It's a different. It's now a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
In addition to what I
That's the
thought was
real
pretty,
conspiracy here, isn't it?
In the world,
We've got to have a good look at these.
Place.
We've got to have a good look at these fuckers in UNESCO. They're up to something, and we're gonna fucking find out.
whatever they're up to, it ain't good. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, usually what UNESCO are up to is like human child trafficking and rape.
And
They do a lot of
hiding
rape.
The fact that
So UNESCO has
yeah.
UNESCO determined the atoll symbolises the dawn of the nuclear age and named it a World Heritage Site on the 3rd of August 2010. Shame
thanks,
Zero
yeah,
isn't here
shame
to
you
work
can't
out
go
those
there
numbers.
and like test these radiation levels, and isn't it? That's a bit interesting, isn't it?
We can't. It's a World
Ah.
Heritage Site now. Must stay
Ah.
as it
Well,
was.
it's like Antarctica. I mean, isn't all of Antarctica a UNESCO World Heritage Site?
I think so.
Do you want me to continue with the? We're not really.
Do you want to do
hold
it?
on. Bikini Atoll. So this is part of the World Heritage Site bit. Bikini Atoll has conserved direct, tangible evidence conveying the power of nuclear tests, i.e., the sunken ships
Of course.
sent to the bottom of the lagoon by the tests in 1946, and the gigantic Bravo crater, equivalent to 7,000 times the force of the Hiroshima bomb.
Don't you mean ginormous?
It's
Okay,
it's like 1,000 times 9/11, isn't it? And the tests had major consequences on the geology and natural environment of Bikini Atoll and on the health of those who were exposed to radiation. Through its history, the atoll symbolises the dawn of the nuclear age, despite its paradoxical image of peace and earthly paradise. Do you think UNESCO are covering up portals to hell?
I think UNESCO are covering up the fact Jerry Nadler shit himself. Fraser, I've got a way to debunk you, right? You know, you're saying like there's no way to measure the nuclear fallout of this because it's a UNESCO site. Well, who do we know lives at the bottom of Bikini Atoll? SpongeBob SquarePants. And what do we know happens to those that observe SpongeBob SquarePants? Their IQ has been proven to be reduced after watching the show.
Oh, hold on, just one more thing.
As we know, a sign of radiation poisoning is IQ reduction. I rest my case.
No, the levels of humour in that show are so many.
I mean, isn't basically SpongeBob SquarePants a
You've
shit
watched
version?
it, haven't you? That's
It's the poor man's.
I
It's
got
the
my
poor man's.
nieces into it.
Ren and Stimpy.
It's the poor man's Ren and Stimpy. You are correct, Hobbit.
Yeah.
Bikini Atoll is open to visitors aboard vessels that are completely self-sufficient if they obtain prior approval. They must also pay for a diver and 2 local government council representatives to accompany them. The local representation is required to verify that visitors don't remove artifacts from the wrecks in the lagoon. Extensive research has been conducted to ensure the safety of visitors to the area and to demonstrate the now low levels of radiation in and around Bikini Atoll. So the atoll test. So when was the atoll testing? What's the?
19...
Does anybody know what radioactive element they used?
Probably uranium or plutonium.
What's the half-life for uranium and plutonium?
No idea, but when
years.
you blow it up, it changes.
Oh, does it?
Element 115.
That's what state.
That's the one that Bob Lazar was working on.
Well, they've found strontium-90, haven't they? So,
one of the
strontium. So in 1977, so the testing. Okay, so the testing was like 1800s and 1946. So sometime in the 40s they did it, but they found strontium-90, which has a half-life of 28.8 years.
Yeah, that's
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants. Right. I want to say, as we're talking about the half-life of various elements, there's something called an enhanced radiation weapon, or also a cobalt bomb, where you wrap a nuclear weapon, doesn't matter if it's thermonuclear or just atomic, you wrap it in cobalt, the cobalt becomes irradiated by the explosion, and that's it. And it becomes incredibly toxic, and it's got a half-life of, I don't know, something like 150 days.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're in a nuclear bunker, you'll survive it, whilst all the life on the surface dies. And the propaganda in the Cold War was saying that, the Russians are evil, amoral bastards, so they've definitely got enhanced radiation weapons.
That's why we're going to use it as well.
Unlike us, the only nation on Earth which has used an atomic bomb twice in anger.
Yeah.
Oh, and forget Agent Orange, because that's not sexy.
That don't count.
Yeah, that don't count.
And Dresden, just forget about that one.
Well, no, Dresden was based because Bomber Harris do it again.
Yeah.
That was actually the German stimulus package, because look how well they've done from it.
Oh, Hobbit, you would have enjoyed the last podcast the left I listened to today. An Austrian serial killer.
Joseph Fritzl.
No, it's begins with a W. He actually spent some time in the Cecil Hotel. Or is he the? Go on then.
Is he the guy that invited a guy over for dinner and they ate his willy?
No, he's the guy. Oh. He's the guy. Oh, yeah. He's the guy that spent 15 years in jail for brutally murdering a prostitute, and he started writing, and the shitlibs thought he was great, so they got him released, and then he went on to kill a further 10 prostitutes.
So when is he going to be doing a talk with Greta Thunberg about how you need to reduce your carbon footprint by murdering prostitutes?
But I want to know what his pronouns are.
He wasn't murdering. He wasn't reducing his carbon footprint, because when he got out of prison, he bought himself a nice big Mercedes with a privatised plate, and despite the fact being 1990, he bought himself a big 1970s like white disco suit.
Okay.
You think this channel is unhypnotising Zoomers?
Why?
I don't know, just by giving, truth.
Who's our audience? I mean, you've got the demographics analysis.
I don't know, I haven't had a look at that in ages.
Middle-aged
women. You should have a look.
Yeah.
I'd like to think we're talking to Generation X men and millennials.
I think it's old people. I think it's people between 40 and 60. I'm pretty sure is how our demographics go.
I know one of our audience members is in his 50s, and I'll say hello, Rodders. See if he
analytics.
noticed.
Let's have a look at we want to do some live analytics, do we?
Is anyone in the chat in your 20s? Speak up.
Who's watching?
One would like to meet you.
Well, apparently we've got apparently we've got someone in there. Oh, that's returning viewers. I thought that was someone who was 90, but it's not.
Yeah.
Audience. How do you see the audience's age?
Well, whilst you're figuring that out, I'm going to read a bit more from this Science Daily thing. I'm just going to skip ahead to a cog in a gearbox. For us, an atom is a well-controlled and oiled cog, said Dr. Andrea Alberti, the team lead for the Bond experiment.
Well, it's not like like a really little tiny thing that you couldn't find even, if you had a
needle in a haystack.
Yeah, even if you had a magnifying glass.
You can build a calculator with remarkable performance using these cogs, but in order for it to work, they have to engage. This is where the actual significance of splitting atoms lies. Because the two halves are put back together again, they can make contact with adjacent atoms to the left and right and share it. This allows a small network of atoms to form that can be used, like in the memory of a computer, to simulate and control real systems, which will then make their secrets more accessible. The scientists believe that the entire potential controlling individual atoms this precisely will become apparent over time.
Oh, fuck. We're firmly in the demo, lads. 35 to 44 years, 100% age and gender. 35 to 44, 100% male, it says.
Well, that's wrong, because I know one of the guys... And he used his real date of birth on his Gmail account, because I helped him set up. He's in his 50s.
100%. It can't be 100% male. I have a female friend on Facebook who's watched this.
Proper sausage fest. This is, mate.
I happen to know Daughter of Albion, who's a real verified female human being.
No, because I've seen the video that says Tranny of Albion. Does anyone remember that video?
Oh, was it Johnny Monoxide? I
can't remember. Someone did Tranny of Albion once.
He's the font of authoritative. Like, if I want to know if someone's a tranny, Johnny Monoxide is there with the truth.
Yeah.
Unlike us guys.
Johnny Monoxide and our former co-host as well.
Do you know the clit and the G-spot are much easier to locate than the atom?
That is true. Yeah. And the other thing is, we have like scientific evidence, photographic evidence of the clit and the G-spot.
Oh, do you want to see where people are watching this from?
Oh, the Seychelles.
India.
This is shit. United Kingdom, United States. So 54.5% are watching from the United Kingdom, 4.9% from the United States. But it's just not going to tell me where the rest come from.
India.
It would be the United States would be higher if we didn't shit on them so much.
Do you think well, it's banter, and as we know, the Americans can take a joke because they've got thick skin. It's like water off a duck's back. A fat duck.
Intelligent ones come here. Yeah.
It's like water off a fat duck's back.
Top subtitle languages are no subtitles.
Oh,
when we insult Americans, I hope they know we're only insulting the ones from like the hills in Alabama.
No, they're all right. They're all right. It's the other ones.
No, right.
It's the coastal elites are the ones we want to.
No. It's the city types.
Yeah.
They and York and yeah.
I want to go on a holiday to like Montana or somewhere, like up water of the California catchment basin, so I can shit in their streams.
If Susan spent less time. Oh, hold on, that was just the last 28 days.
I was going to say,
let's look at the lifetime of the channel. Oh,
because
no, it's still a sausage fest. So lifetime of the channel, 2.6% female.
If I didn't know better, I would say that YouTube functionality is getting worse, not better.
Well, that's because they're more interested in throwing racist stuff than they are in actually doing their fucking job properly.
Yeah, there is. I saw a video from the Quartering about that, how they've changed things recently. Mm. Well, I saw the title of the video, but I didn't look into the...
I've got the lifetime of the channel, so 18 to 24, 2.7%, 13 to 17 years, 0%. 25 to 34, 47.9, 35 to 44, 41.2, and then 45 to 54, 7.9%. 55 to 64, we're missing out there, 0%. But 65 plus years, 0.3%, Hobbit.
Mm.
Yeah, probably because they don't know how to work the computer and they click on it accidentally.
They're actually looking for the real Fortean word.
Yeah, they're expecting Nigel Fanthorpe on his motorbike.
Well, it's those 2 times my mum tuned in.
You remember 14 times? You remember 14 times, don't you?
Which we're not affiliated
not 14
with.
times. 14 TV. You remember that date you done with Nigel Fanthorpe, the vicar,
I remember
the trendy vicar.
I do remember it.
Well, we know why it's like 34 to fucking.
Miss Patriots. Miss Patriots popped in to break up the sausage fest.
Nice. There we go. Get them analytics. Yeah. We got to appeal to the kids. We got to go yo and like. I don't know what.
I think Interdimensional Lizard has done the research because he said the audience is 8 weirdos from the internet. I thought that was the panel. Correct. I thought the panel was 8 weirdos from the internet.
Is Miss Patriot a woman or a mirror of children?
She's definitely a woman.
You mean an individual with a uterus?
Yeah, an individual. Yeah, I mean,
a birthing. Is it a birthing
person? That's it.
Birthing person.
2 different states at once. She could be a woman at one point and a man at another.
Because you see, Miss Patriot not an atom.
It's not an atom.
Because Miss Patriot is like on the macro scale, we can observe her, and she's not in an indeterminate state if you don't observe her.
But that's science, bro. That's what science is.
Yeah, science, bitch.
Yeah.
There we go. Nukes aren't real. There we go.
Pretty much.
Are we going to talk about Are we talking about the UFO? Oh, go on then, Dom. What are we going to say?
I was going to say, have you seen that clip where this woman goes on at this senator about abortion, and she's saying, we're talking about people who are able to give birth through their uteruses. And he's like, are you talking about women? He's like, no. Also, there's transgender men and non-binary individuals, and I find your remarks transphobic.
I always get confused. I don't know whether is a transgender man. Is that a man pretending to be a woman, or a woman pretending to be a man?
I think a transgender man is a woman who's become a man.
Now, is this quantum entanglement? Because, like, you know, they're either neither male nor female until you observe, like, you strip off their clothes.
But the problem is you observe them and they're still male, aren't they? But they're just wearing a dress.
We're really getting into Schrodinger's weeds here.
Schrodinger's ding-dongs.
Yeah, Schrodinger's ding-dong. If a tranny passes, you don't know until you pulled his pants down. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, everything you do or say is transphobic.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that section of. So what else did you want to talk about nuclear-wise, Hobbit?
Oh, I did nuclear medicine. I studied Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I have done positron emission tomography, where I actually had an argument with my dad saying it's impossible to make antimatter. Where would you store it? And I'm like, well, it's a product of beta radiation decay. And also, did you know that the solar wind
emits
under
the stairs? That's where you'd store it.
Yeah, using magnets. How do they work?
Yeah. But
also, we get it from the sun. Now, I know people here will know I'm a flat Earth enjoyer, right? But I know the sun is real because I can feel it. And over the past few days, where my nan's been in hospital for dehydration, she thinks drinking a lot of water is like drinking a pint in a day. But so she's been on an IV drip, and each time they've given her a litre. I said to her, that's 2 pints they put into you in the space of half an hour. But yeah, we've all appreciated sun. We all know it's there. So whether space is real or not, we definitely know that the sun is real because we can feel it on our backs or on our faces. So I reckon you can. Well, yeah. If you go up high enough into the atmosphere, you can get your solar radiation. You can get particles from it.
Well, I remember when I went skiing in Austria that when you're up high, you have to make sure you got plenty of sunblock all the time, even though it's snowy.
You've got less atmosphere protecting you from ultraviolet radiation.
Yeah.
They also say that the best weed grows up in the mountains. Do you know why?
Ultraviolet light.
Yeah, that's right. And the cannabis resin it produces works as a sunblock. So that's why it does it.
The Blue Mountains in Jamaica produce the best coffee. ever. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
If they grow weed in those same areas, I don't know if they do or not. I mean,
I was
how good
traditionally
would that be?
told that this is back before people were growing hydroponically, that the best weed came from either the Rift Mountains of Morocco or the Himalayas, like Nepal or Himalayas.
Asia, how satisfied are you
Himalayas.
that we've
Are you
covered
deliberately
your...
mispronouncing stuff now, Hobbit?
Look, tomato.
Well, it's like what's his name? Isn't it? It's like George Michael. It's the Himalayas, isn't it?
George Michael's the Himalayas?
George Michael?
Himalaya. Do you get it? No, it should be him. I don't know. That joke didn't land, did it?
No. Yeah, I've got it.
Himalaya. He likes to sleep with Waffen SS officers.
Well, it'd be more like, somebody who shags a lot of women, because Himalaya.
Oh, okay.
News. Apparently, he died.
Yeah. Did you see that? Do you remember when he crashed into that photo shop and someone at the crash site had written "Wham" in marker on it?
Yeah.
Right.
Hobbit, I thought you had some different content about nuclear to do.
Oh, I just wanted to, actually, what's his name? And I think I've pretty much done it during the show. Yeah. So,
I don't know. I thought you wanted to talk about, I don't know, green energy or something.
Well, no,
I've already done that.
Right.
What about nuclear power plants? That's what Cliff is on about. Yeah, so you can get nuclear fission. Nuclear, where you have a subcritical chain reaction event, and that makes the things go hot.
Well, you can make bombs from that, or is it just like a certain way of processing it that creates the bomb stuff?
Well, it's just they want to get it hot to produce the energy to then heat the water to turn the turbine, basically. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all nuclear power plants are. It's basically steam powered.
Funny enough, I spoke with the guys at ITER for a job interview. Oh well, doxed. I'm one of the thousands upon thousands of people that apply to work for Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Oh, nice.
And
you could have got bumped by Alistair Crowley.
Except
Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons got bummed by Alistair Crowley, didn't he? He got bummed by Alistair Crowley, and he got cuxed by L. Ron Hubbard. That's poor old Jack Parsons.
I said to them, right, we're dealing with nuclear fusion. Is this still going to be just basically heating up a steam kettle and driving a turbine? We're doing Victorian technology, and they're saying, yeah, but what you're describing is called aneutronic fusion, where if you do fusion without neutrons, and then because of that, you get a whole bunch of negatively charged plasma, which you can then siphon using magnets, and then just directly tap the electricity from that.
Fucking magnets, how do they work?
No one really knows. That's the whole thing. I'm gonna look up.
So what actually? So what happens? What happens to the rods then to make them spent?
So what happens is after a while, the content of the fuel rod will change from uranium-235 to uranium-238, and they're described as spent. But really, all that's happened is like a tiny percentage, like 5 or 6%, it gets used. They're still radioactively hot, which is why they have to be put in cooling tanks for years and years afterwards. In fact, that was one of the controversies over Fukushima.
Or we could just put it in a boat and fuck it off to China, which I think is what we actually do, isn't it?
Or you can do what they did in Fukushima, where it's just like, LOL, put the spent fuel rods on top of the reactor. I'm sure no unforeseen consequences will happen there. But the thing is, you can do no. All of this is in what's called a fast breeder reactor. Fast breeder reactors are the nuclear reactors we have. They are essentially a bomb-making facility which enriches uranium and plutonium into weapons-grade materials. There's also things like fast breeder reactors, but we don't need to get into the weeds here. Now, the reason I mentioned this.
Can I derail you for a second?
Mm.
I'd really like to meet all you guys for a pint in a pub somewhere in a nice setting, and it would be great. I think the reality is we're all going to meet up in a anti-woke dissident FEMA camp, probably.
Well, if we can meet in a if we can meet in a pub, I'll bring over the jag.
Yeah, Hobbit's
Yeah,
got a
and
jag.
And when it comes time to pay the bills, it's just like, oh, I'll just go and warm up the jag. I seem to have left my wallet somewhere else. You'll do the bill, won't you? I'm just going to warm up the jag. It's like, why are you stealing? Why are you stealing the silverware? Oh no, you don't understand. I've got a jag. Anyway, back to nuclear reactors, right? So you've got fast breeder boil they get hot. You boil some water on that, you get steam power. Hey, free energy. There is also called the liquid salt thermal reactor, where you get your nuclear material. So instead of rods, you've got a powder, and you mix the powder together. It becomes subcritical and gets very hot. You surround it in, I think you make it an alloy of sodium mixed with like thorium or uranium. So you've got this liquid sodium. You have a jacket of sodium around it, which in turn that melts as well. And then you pump the liquid sodium around and use that to heat up steam, which again does the same job. And the advantage of this reactor is every you get like a thermal runaway event, a nuclear meltdown, what will happen is the reactor will be breached, the sodium will pour out, and then when that happens, it solidifies and cools and forms a plug. It's a solid state reactor. Once the fuel goes in, that's it. You can't add new fuel. And that would last for about 30 years. The advantage of being is once you're done with it, instead of having like 94% fissile material left, you've got like 0.1% fissile material left. So it's far more efficient than existing reactors. But again, existing reactors, their primary goal of them is not to produce energy. That's just like a happy consequence. Their primary goal is... the primary objective of these is to produce weapons-grade fissile material. So, aneutronic fusion. It's any form of fusion power where very little of the energy released is carried by neutrons. So, lowest threshold nuclear fusion reaction release 80% of the energy in the form of neutrons. Aneutronic reactions release energy in the form of charged particles, typically protons or alpha particles. Successful aneutronic fusion would greatly reduce problems associated with neutron radiation, such as damaging ionizing radiation, neutron activation, reactor maintenance, and requirements for biological shielding. So, since it's similar to convert the energy of charged particles into electrical power than it is to convert energy from uncharged particles, an aneutronic reaction would be attractive for power systems. Some proponents see a potential for dramatic cost reductions by converting energy directly to electricity, as well as eliminating the radiation from neutrons. And so, one example they got from this is that you put lithium-6 with deuterium, which is H2, and then you get alpha particles come out, and you get a... But the other one which they could do is using a helium-free deuterium reaction, and fortunately, we've got a large supply of helium-free not far from us on the moon, because it comes from the solar wind and it's deposited into the regolith of the moon.
Isn't that documentary? No, I'm thinking, what's it called? Something 3. There's a documentary, isn't there, where they were talking about people moving into space. Like, there are a couple of documentaries I think we probably could do a watch and talk about.
the best one would probably be if you've got people living in the O'Neill cylinders, because we don't know the effects of different gravity on us. It's probably a good idea to keep it very close to 1 Earth gravity, and maybe for fun you could have a 0G sex swimming pool, whatever. But like. Or maybe like a tenth of a G, because at least then you'll be able to like land on the floor, but when you jump, you'll be able to float for ages. That'll probably be more fun than 0G. But yeah,
you know what? I think we'd be a good fit for Joe Rogan podcast, because we're like a hybrid between he does the Legion of Skanks, or the Protect the Parks, where he has a bunch of comedians, and also he has a bunch of scientific experts. So we'd be kind of a blend between the two.
Joe Rogan, if you're listening, have me on. I will talk about any subject. I'm quite happy to talk about God, mathematics. Oh, not so much
about
mathematics.
Space, because
I won't talk so much about space, but I'd be quite happy to talk about nuclear reactions,
aliens, ayahuasca, elk meat.
I would definitely talk to him about crystals and demons trapped in crystals, and that's what I wanted to mention. A few weeks ago, someone called
Alternative 3, that was the documentary I thought we should watch. It's from 1977. It's like like these faux serious documentaries like Ghostwatch was, and it fooled a lot of people. This was about people moving to the moon or outer space or something.
Okay. O'Neill cylinders is the best way to do it, and then you just have robotic mining of these inhospitable planets. Right, so this is from, various places have posted it. The one I've got it from is sci-fiofficial.com, which I think is the entertainment channel, Sci-Fi. I'll post it in the
is
thingies.
it SYFY? SYFY?
Look in general and you'll see it. So, a nuclear test creates a forbidden crystal. Yeah. This is the fivefold way. In the 1940s, the very first atomic bomb blast deep in the New Mexico desert spawned something that has lain underground all these years waiting. Something forbidden, something so bizarre that scientists swore couldn't exist on Earth. They found it in meteorites, oh yes, but from the depths of space that come. But this was forged in the radioactive fires of the bomb. Something that could only be bombed when humans arrogantly tampered with the laws of nature itself, letting loose the terror of icosahedrite, the quasi-crystal. Dun dun dun! To be a little less florid and more sciencey, scientists have found an extremely unusual form of a crystal called icosahedrite, which has previously only been found in a weird meteorite or created in the lab. The difference here is that this specimen was found in a mineral made with the intense heat and pressure. By the way, I'm going to copy an image into the chat so people can see this X-ray crystallography of this thing, and then
is
you
that
go,
an X-ray jerk-off crystal?
Yeah, X-ray crystallography is the cataloguing of jerk-off crystals for your wank bank. So the difference here is that this specimen was found in a mineral made when the intense heat and pressure from the very first atomic bomb detonation, the Trinity test, allegedly. I think we did do the episode about the Pakistan village with vitrified walls and the Scottish castles with vitrified walls.
Oh God, yeah. What's that place called? I can't remember. Yes, we did talk about it.
Yeah, because I was talking about ancient science fiction. No, Coral Castles in America. In Scotland, there are castles where...
there's another one, isn't there?
The heat has been so intense, the walls have turned into glass.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And they're saying this was a siege where people were burning logs underneath the stone, because as we all know, wood fires melt castle walls.
Castle walls.
So
wow.
Some proper Star Wars... Some proper Star Wars tier stuff was going on back then to vitrify stone walls and cause radioactive clicks. Anyway, back to this mineral, icosahedrite.
Yeah, I think Coral Castle was the episode name, wasn't it? If anyone wants to go back.
Yeah, we did about that, and I think we did about other megaliths as well in there. So the Trinity test fused the sand underneath it into glass, and not just the sand, but the metal from the tower. it was mounted on, and copper from transmission wires connecting instruments to the test. And so they've got a mineral here in this article called red trinitite. If you want to put the sci-fi article up and
there's
show
actually
this
quite
picture.
a few. I've just having a look at
vitrified
thoughts.
Fuck off, man.
What?
No.
What?
You believe? It's the image, the fucking image, man.
Yeah. Okay, so red
Fuck
trinitite, a glassy mineral created in the first atomic bomb test in New Mexico in 1945. All of this came together to form a weird mineral called trinitite. It's usually glassy in grain and, unsurprisingly, is slightly radioactive. A more rare form of trinitite...
Did you know there were 70 vitrified forts in Scotland?
No, I didn't. Maybe we should revisit it and the story of Lou and Dagda, because they've got some property.
Oh, wait.
The reason I mentioned Dagda is he's got a replicator, a cauldron.
There's a Wikipedia on vitrified
dragons,
forts.
Man. It was the dragons. They did it.
Well, yeah. Dagda had a cauldron which would give you
fire.
unlimited food, but unlimited food of anything. So your heart's content, you'll pull it out.
Was it James T. Kirk that made them?
And Lou had a spear which would shoot straight beams of lightning, and he had a shield made of light.
Definitely Star Trek.
If you've seen Ulysses 31, you'll also see Ulysses 31 was funny.
Everybody has got to watch Ulysses 31. Is the greatest fucking one of the best cartoon series out there.
I really like it. It's got a great story.
Greek myths plus science fiction plus laser swords and shields.
Imagine, laser swords and shields. But imagine you got your Greek myths, but with 70s disco music.
Yeah, Ulysses, none of the things you do.
Also, because it's the 80s, you've got a cute robot, because robots were a big thing in the 80s.
Because robots made everything better, even Rocky IV.
That's not the only Stallone movie where there's cute robots in it. But back to this trinitite substance.
Clash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans had Bubo, didn't it? The owl.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
So a more rare form of trinitite is red, and a piece of this was found after World War II north of the 80-meter wide crater from the test in Alamogordo, New Mexico. The colour may be due to copper oxide from the transmission wires.
Pronunciation there, Hobbit. Flawless.
Yeah, I'm like a native New Mexican. From the transmission wires fused into the mineral. I thought you were actually
born Spanish the way you pronounce that, Hobbit.
I mean, you can smell the tacos and burritos from. You can smell the tacos and burritos from here. I'll scotch you.
I can smell that rogue Spanish DNA in you, Hobbit.
Well, you know, I am partly Spaniard. It's a very distant ancestry, but
burritos.
My one of my grandfather's ancestors was a woman who, during the Napoleonic War, was just like, "Oh, Spain's a shithole. I'm moving to France." And then married my great grandfather. And no. Oh, this has been known for some time. What's new is that in the teeny 10 microgram...
Let me just say this quick. For a long time, it was supposed that these forts were peculiar to Scotland, but they're also found in the Isle of Man, County Londonderry, Ireland, in Upper Lusitania, Bohemia, Silesia, Saxony, Thuringia...
What's Lusitania?
Upper Lusatia?
Lusitania. I lust for Titania's large.
No, it's Lusatia. Lusatia. Historical region in Germany and Poland. Oh, I just went a bit. Roland. I went Poland.
Poland. So back to this trinitite, because we can save that. That's that. Thanks for the teaser for the next episode.
Yeah.
All this has been known. Anyway, 10 micrograms sample of the red trinitite. Scientists found a new form of icosahedrite created in a 22 kiloton blast.
Oh,
the chemical formula.
Have you ever heard of Ucker Lake in Brandenburg, where the walls are formed of burnt and smelted bricks?
No, but this sounds like it should be in our vitrified forts episode.
Yeah.
Coming soon, TM. Yeah.
Well, it's Fraser debunked because here's all these ancient nuclear bomb blasts.
Might not actually be nuclear bombs, though, was it?
No, they were ancient Jewish space lasers. Me and Fraser both know this.
Ah, I see. So why are they?
I'm going with the Hobbit theory. It's just dragons did it.
But do dragons have radioactive breath?
I don't know. Have you ever met a dragon?
Yes, I have. I've met their skeletons.
Have you ever seen a dragon with a yarmulke on?
Jewish
space dragons.
Yeah,
Jewish space dragons.
How is it you've never seen a rabbi and a dragon in the same room? Huh? Checkmate, atheists. So, now, new form of icosahedrite. The chemical form they determined is silicon-61, copper-30, Ca, that's calcium-7, and iron-2. But what's really cool about it is the crystal structure itself. It has fivefold symmetry. It's extremely interesting because it's extremely hard for this sort of thing to be found in nature. What I'm going to do is copy the image. I'm going to paste it into the chat, and Hemi, you can put that up on the screen instead of the advert for Target List. Investigating a cure for cancer. I can't read the rest of it because it's too small. Investigating a cure for cancer was Tinger's first mistake.
Target List. It sounds like a good book, though, doesn't it?
Now in post-production, visit the movie website to learn more.
Yeah.
The targetlistmovie.com.
Is it
Anyway,
like the cheap version of the terminal list?
It's the Hemi should put this picture of a pentagram
give me a fucking
on the
second,
screen.
will you? Jesus Christ!
No, you're the OBS slave. You have to make everything work.
I'm the Golden Gun winning OBS slave. Thank you, Hobbit.
Yeah. It was awarded to you jointly by Godwinson and Poo before he, shit himself live on air.
Yeah.
To distract from the fact Jerry Nadler shit himself.
2021 Golden Gun Award winner. Thank you.
Yeah.
And what is this pentagram?
So this is an X-ray diffraction pattern from the icosahedrite sample found in the Kachira meteorite. So this isn't from the bomb blast.
Pronunciation, Hobbit, like a native.
Yeah, this is from the Kachira meteorite showing fivefold symmetry. Inset, the fragment is examined attached to a thin length of carbon fibre. And that's credit to Asimov et al., which is not Asimov.
Instead of sending us all this bullshit, why can't they just put it down in a fucking letter?
The first naturally occurring form of isn't this a letter?
I just love when they go, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll send it all out there in a symphony, and they'll send it back, but it'll be an obscure radiation sound. And it's like, oh, fuck off, will you? Just send a letter.
Oh, what you're saying? This is aliens communicating with
us?
Okay. So this picture is not from the trinitite. This is from a meteorite. The first naturally occurring form of the crystal was found a meteorite from Russia called.
You remember that time we used the bog roll in one day, Hobbit?
Yeah.
You said it was aliens then.
Yeah. Over the years, crystallographers have found that there are 4 kinds of symmetries natural crystals can have: 2-fold, 3-fold, 4-fold, and 6-fold. These are all based on taking a shape and rotating it 360 degrees. For example, take an equilateral triangle. If you spin it 360, it looks the same. It also looks the same if you spin it 120 and 240 degrees. So after spinning it all the way around, you get the same pattern 3 times, which is a 3-fold symmetry. A regular hexagon has 6 sides and looks the same after you spin it 60, 120, 180, 240, and 300, then finally 360 degrees. So it has 6-fold symmetry. Now, you could theoretically have a 5-fold symmetry for an object that goes through multiples of 72-degree rotations. After 5 of those, you're back at 360, but that's never found in nature. The other symmetries are very strong, and crystals find themselves displaying those instead. So, this 5-fold symmetry is so hard to make compared to how easy it is to make the other kind of crystals that it's very rare, which is why it's sometimes called a forbidden symmetry. It's like flipping a coin. It's like flipping
How do we know it's never found in nature?
Well, we do know it's found in nature because this image, what's on the screen, is an X-ray photograph of a meteorite found in Russia.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Wait.
It's very rare. It's not impossible. So this 5-fold symmetry is so hard to make compared to how easy to make other ones. Yeah, I said that. It's like flipping a coin and having it land on its edge.
To be fair, it does look like a bad photocopy of an Avenged 7-fold seed.
So in other words, it's not impossible, but it's really uncommon given how easy it is for the coin to land with either its flat side down.
Now, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Because it's so unusual, scientists call it a quasi-crystal or quasi-crystal. The icosahedrite and the meteorite almost certainly form an unusual asteroid.
That'd be a good name for a pub, wouldn't it? Quasi-crystals. No, like a head shop. You call it quasi crystals. Someone with purple hair.
Quasi crystals.
Quasi crystals.
The smell of nag champa incense wafting carelessly out.
Yeah.
So they say what happened is that it got two asteroids whacked against one another hard, which creates high temperature. Yeah, high temperatures and pressure for a very short period of time. The new icosahedrite formed in the trinitite is different, though, with a different chemical structure. It's still fivefold and all that, but the mineral itself is different. This is important for a few reasons.
Name comes from?
Probably. One of that, it's known exactly when, where, and under what conditions the crystal was made. That really helps to understand it. Because the structure is different than the naturally occurring one, they can be compared to understand the conditions at the moment of an asteroid impact too. So how do they know it's from the asteroid?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like,
who's to say it's not from when the meteorite impacts the Earth? I mean, surely that's a high impact event.
Exactly. How do you know it was created in space before it hit the ground?
Because meteorite craters, they have vitrified sand and soil underneath them, don't they?
Uh-huh.
So, this thing of two low-speed impacts. Well, they say it's a high-speed impact of asteroids, but it's more likely that when it hits to Earth, that's the high-speed.
You know what they say? Two low-speed impacts makes a high-speed impact.
Do they?
They do now. They do now.
I feel that when I learned the scientific method in school and in A levels and stuff, it was pretty solid, and it's been kind of taken loosely these days.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it. So it's just like, hang on, guys. Surely it's more logical to say it comes. But anyway, let's read the rest of the article. We can poke holes in it later. It also shows that combining nuclear test grounds is a fruitful way. For combing nuclear test grounds is a fruitful way to look for these crystals. The team spent years tracking down the icosahedrite they found in the Kadjira meteorite. But to our shame, there were a lot of tests in the southwest US desert. Perhaps more. Because they're saying it's bad to do nuclear.
See, they're ignoring Bikini Atoll, not like you lot.
Perhaps more can be found. The politics behind it is distressing, to say the least, but the science is important to geologists and crystallographers. Different bombs have different explosive yields, and were done in different areas with different materials around them. How does this affect the icosahedrite? And there's a small piece of trinitite in the next photo here. Let me just copy this image. It's very interesting, right? I'm sure
Weinstein would disapprove with all of this.
I'm sure all of the Feinstein, all of the geologists in the chat are going to really like this picture of some trinitite. A small piece of trinitite, a glassy mineral made.
You're going to get your rocks off.
Yeah, a glassy mineral made when sand and other materials were fused by the Trinity test explosion. The first atomic bomb test in 1945. The piece is about 7 millimeters wide. And for the video audience, we're now pretending you're like the radio audience and can't see it because there's no image on the screen. It's still there.
No, you impatient bastard.
Yeah.
Don't forget, YouTube's coming from 30 seconds in the past.
Yeah, I actually have a piece of regular trinitite.
Here's a bit of bogeyite.
Yeah, so this is the journalist, right? Not me saying. I actually have a piece of regular trinitite given to me by a friend. It's tiny and green, and while it's radioactive, it's only very slightly, and so it's relatively safe now.
Oh, that's
it's amazing to hold in your hand.
Is that a bit like the low aids that Magic Johnson had?
Yeah. The process we made since the infatuation process we haven't made. By the next time I take out and look at it, I also wonder what the secret it holds and stirs yet to be found wonders inside made lines inside its crystalline matrix. Yes, but do those bogies have high-fold symmetry?
Probably. Might be really crusty bogies.
Oh, and there's also a related story in this which sounds like an unexplained mysteries thing. Cancel Columbus Day, sunstorms pinpoint Europeans being in Canada, and 1021 Anno Domini. That's the year of our Lord for those that don't know.
Yeah, because it's before Christ and after Christ now, isn't it?
Oh, before the Christian era and the Christian era, BCE and CE. But I prefer before Christ and Anno Domini because I'm old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been using
offensive to like every other culture. Yeah.
Well, I've been using Fahrenheit.
So why did the Christian era start then? I don't know.
Yeah, I've been using Fahrenheit more these days to try and stress the importance to my grandmother that it's 116 Fahrenheit out there. You may want to drink more than just a tiny thimble of water. Yeah. Oh yeah, so Vikings landed in Newfoundland in 1021 Anno Domini. So for the Vikings which weren't Christian, that's the year of our Lord 10,021. Oh, sorry, 1021.
To be fair, they were worshipping the cum guzzler at the time.
Well, you know, the Swedes have always had a proud history of LGBT activities.
Yeah.
They make some of the finest femboys in the world, I'm told. Just ask PewDiePie.
Pootie Pie.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
Pootie Poos.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Right, so can we ascertain now? Are nukes real?
I am going to say the jury's out because I'm undecided.
Okay.
Well, what's the Geiger counter measuring then?
The Geiger counter measures beta radiation as it comes out, and it goes into it goes into a gas chamber, and when the beta particles strike the atoms inside the gas, they ionize, and when they deionize, that's when the very sensitive scanner inside, which his name I forget, counts the clicks. Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
Right, so it's 10-2. Did you want to do some unexplained histories?
Yeah, sure. Like, where did I lose that Thursday one day after doing a bunch of salvia?
I'm just saying, Discord threw me out of the audio because interaction required. If you don't say anything for long enough, they punish you.
Auto kicked, blimey.
Yeah.
Oh, have you heard this one? Bored housewife spends years faking Russian history on Wikipedia.
Oh.
Okay.
An incredible hoax spanning hundreds of articles on the world's biggest online encyclopedia was recently exposed. While Wikipedia is usually a good place to learn about things, there's a reason that many academic establishments frown upon an over-reliance on the online encyclopedia for fact-checking. Various news outlets recently reported the discovery that a housewife in China who posted under the name Gmao had spent years fabricating hundreds of pages of completely false Russian history that managed to go totally under the radar. Her writing was incredibly elaborate, well written, and interspersed with genuine information to disguise the fact it was almost entirely fictional, yet believable enough to go unnoticed by the site's fact-checkers and editors. It wasn't until the Chinese novelist Yifan started doing research for a book that her ingenious and elaborate hoaxing started to come to light. The content she wrote of is of high quality. The entries were interconnected, created a system that can exist on its own, Wikipedia veteran John Yip told Vice. Gmail single-handedly invented a new way to undermine Wikipedia. Her entries added comprehensive with proper citations, but some were made up, while others had page numbers that did not add up. So there you go. You're just practicing on us.
But what was the history she was bullshitting? What
just
was
Russian history. They won't tell you.
Alteria's not real. Moving on. Siberia. Yeah, just, a few people out there sweat forward.
What do you want to do about the spaghetti-like object spotted on the surface of Mars?
God.
No. Is it a bush which they've recoloured?
It looks
green?
a lot like a tangle
That's
of string or
question.
fibres, and that's pretty much exactly what it is.
The thing is that you can't say spaghetti like that's racist.
So yes, I don't know. The last couple of lines confuse me. Earth's orbit is already filled with space debris, and we've also left our mark on the moon. It seems we're destined to leave our trash behind pretty much everywhere we go.
It's like Wall-E.
Yeah. Recently, NASA in released images showing parts of the spacecraft's thermal blanket strewn across the surface, and this latest find is likely to be another piece of that same debris. NASA like the most wank fucking thing ever.
They're not as good at this bullshit as what's his name, UNESCO. When it comes to cover-ups. What the fuck is that creature?
Which one do you want to do now, I bet?
There's one that says mystery marine creatures found washed up on beach. Ugh. It looks like a malformed caterpillar or something.
Yeah.
Actively fucking ourselves, basically. Do you think these tribes that just stay in the jungle and do ayahuasca, have they got it right? We've got it wrong.
No.
Like the Amish.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think England's biggest problem is what we should have done. We should have had something like the Prime Directive, where we shouldn't be like sharing technology and stuff. I think the world would be a lot better then.
Did Arabs really need access to cars? Why can't we just give them camels?
Yeah. Oh, fucking camels are great. You don't want to use cars, they're rubbish. That's what we should have said to them.
When they say, like, hey, can we visit Europe and see, like, how many camels you got? It's like, oh, no, trust us, mate. You don't want to come to Europe.
Oh,
no,
this black stuff that you keep pumping up out of the ground, we'll get rid of that for you. Oh, it's awful, really poisonous.
Yeah, it's garbage. It'll poison your well, so we're doing you a favour, really.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
In fact, if you want to, you can pay us and we'll take it away. Small fee.
All the things we've been discovering, technology, it's kind of instinctive because it's like you can only handle 150 friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's like the size of a village.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out there's a certain amount of like connections you can have. You can't have more than that.
Yeah. And so it's like, well, yeah.
Right. So
the internet is an amazing tool, and it's enhancing us.
It's great at looking. It's great at looking for Bob's and Virgin.
Yeah, exactly. It's enhancing us and it's fucking us at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool and it can be used for both good and evil. Now,
that's an episode, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's especially the dead internet theory people get going on about. Now, the weird creature spotted on the beach. It's got tentacles and bristles and looks fucking ugly. Nobody's got a clue what it is because, you know, there's billions for research into space.
I need to get rid of the bogey.
Fuck all research into like the oceans and what horrors lie underneath that. Now, something a bit more interesting that I think.
Yeah.
In Japan's space agency wants to develop. They call it an artificial gravity machine for colonies on the moon.
What it is that like, in the news? Is it?
Yeah, it's somewhere near the top. Now, what they're actually describing there, it's not really artificial gravity. It's like, have you ever been on the rotor in the fairground? You know,
is it like the Enterprise that's at Alton Towers?
So
it spins you around and you stick to the sides.
Yeah, that's the rotor.
Yeah.
And
so it's like a glorified version of the wheel in 2001 then.
Like a centrifuge.
Well, the thing is, when I was describing O'Neill cylinders, an O'Neill cylinder is like, it's a cylinder. Like, if you ever seen Babylon 5, that's an O'Neill cylinder. Because it's spinning around, you're stuck to the sides of it.
Yeah.
So the Japanese think, well, what we'll do is, because it might be good to actually have humans on the surface of the moon in case the robots fail, you have the humans living in these rotating structures, which is an O'Neill cylinder on the thing, and because it's slightly conical shaped, that means like the gravity from the moon, which is a sixth that of Earth, will help. I don't know.
So this is the question: how fast do you have to do to make people stick?
So they're saying it's a diameter of 100 meters. So that's a circumference of what, 314 meters, and it will do one rotation every 20 seconds. So if you do 314 divided by 20, that's your angular momentum, or your meters a second speed.
Yeah.
And then you can convert meters a second into miles an hour. Let me do some back of a fag packet maths. So let's get the calculator up. So 100 times 3.141 equals 314.1. Right, divided by 20. So you're doing 15. Yeah, because in order to get the circumference of a circle, you take its diameter and you times it by pi.
No.
2 pi r.
No. Yeah, I'll say you got a pi r, haven't you?
So if it's 2 pi r,
yeah.
Look, I know the circumference of a circle is the diameter times pi.
So it's 6.282 then. 6.282 times 100.
The diameter.
No, fuck the maths. Fuck the maths. Have you ever been?
I can tell you as a
guesstimate,
a diameter of 100 meters is going to give you something over 300 meters circumference. I don't need to do it. But anyway, that gives you an angular velocity of 15 point.
It's pi r. No, it's pi r squared.
No, you dickhead.
Oh, that's area. Sorry.
Yeah. That's. I actually know a bit of maths when it comes to area and circumference. Right. 15.7 meters. 15.7 meters a second in miles an hour. Is no, you dickhead. That's not 15 constant meters per second to miles an hour. That's what we want. So we want 15.7. So in other words, it's spinning at 35.
How do you work out circumference then? I've completely forgotten how to do that.
Circumference is the diameter times pi.
Oh, okay.
Right. So 15.7 meters a second translates to 35 miles an hour. So this would be spinning at 35 miles an hour.
Well, what's power in it? Is the first question.
It is I don't know, fusion, solar,
magic,
farts.
Have you been on one of those rides?
Yes. I like them a lot.
You're pressed against. And
yes, it's called the rotor.
It's basically a centrifuge.
Yes.
And have you seen what it puts the plasma at the bottom and the blood at the top? Yeah?
I know this is a trope on the show now, and I'm sure the audience appreciates it, but have you ever noticed where I describe something and then 5 minutes later someone else says they describe the exact same thing, and it's like...
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. It's like it's separating your bodily fluids. Don't forget,
Dom is very, very drunk.
I'm very drunk, yeah, but it's not good for you.
Wow, I went turn around, wasn't it? I was like 0 to 60. It was like I disconnect from Discord, comes back. I'm totally smacked. How did that fucking happen?
If you want to put a video clip on Hemi, it shows like so. If you make the rotation really fast, you can counteract Earth's gravity. And the rotor is my favourite fairground ride. Second only to the meteorite, which is a rotor, but it's also on an arm. So once you're stuck to the side, once you're stuck to the side, it makes you go, around. But this, instead of being a fairground ride,
is that the actual moon they're showing there?
Well, it's the 3D representation of the CGI imagery of the
moon. How will it get there? I don't know, but it will.
It's
What? How are they
also
gonna?
it's also a quest in
Oh, beautiful CGI.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
In Fallout 4 Nuka World, you go to meet these basically Scientologists who are trying
I
to get.
really annoyed with Nuka World because I was like, oh, cool, there's some power armor with good stats. I'll just no-clip myself into there. No-clip is disabled. And I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing your stupid fetch quest. They're basically trying to recreate that bit in Fallout 3 with the pit, where you have to like do a fetch quest and get all 100 ingots.
Of fucking like, this is the equivalent of fucking like cut porn for nerds. CGI fucking images, man.
But we do have a real life example of the rotor, and this.
But
you can't move because you're stuck to the side of it.
Exactly. Like,
right.
Have you ever been on one of those?
Hey, you can do a speedboat up it. That's fucking awesome.
Right. So, Hemi, this is rotating at 35 miles an hour. The rotor rotates a bit faster than 35 miles an hour, doesn't it?
What? So you put a boat in it and shit? We was boating and shit.
If it's got a diameter, if it's got a radius of 300 meters, sorry, not a radius. If it's got a circumference of 314 meters, then you can have a boat going in it. You can have people walking and stuff.
When people be choking on the fumes on a speedboat,
I assume it's I assume it's an electric speedboat.
Hold on, if it's water in the centrifuge, like,
what happens if it stops?
Stops.
It will all sink to the bottom. I assume they're going to have to build in like something like, okay, we
How
can
are you
shut.
Get the water to like lay on its side? And
I assume they will do something to say we can occasionally stop the rotation for maintenance because they're showing all like
you stand at the top with the hose pipe while it's spinning, Fraser. Fuck's sake.
I assume they do something where they say like.
Where are you going to get the water from?
Well, you take it from the regolith of the Martian soil. You got hydrogen and oxygen there.
This is on the moon, Hobbit. There must be water on the moon. Isn't there?
There is water on the moon. They discovered it.
Yeah.
I know science isn't real. Oh look, they even put Helter Skelter at the end. so you got your rotor.
Is it me or did some Japanese scientists go to Alton Towers and they're like, "Fuck, I've got an idea, lads."
Why not? I mean, literally, why not? I like the Japanese. Like, they take concepts we got, which are stupid, like the guided bus, and then they go ahead and do it, and it's like, oh, actually, that looks kind of nice. You got this bus, and it's a bus, but then it goes on these special concrete sections.
Take your bets, right? What's going to happen first? Fucking Virgin Aerospace Division, or this?
Oh, Virgin Air. The Virgin suborbital sites are a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Look, I mean, I have to assume that like the moon. This is all based on the assumption that the moon is a solid object and it's not just a field of plasma, as astronomers were saying in the 1950s. You can't land a vehicle. I think even Patrick Moore might have said you can't land an object on the surface of the moon. There is no surface; it's plasma.
Dust.
Sorry,
dust.
have we moved on from extreme sports? Because I went through a pit and I missed some of it.
No, we're still talking about Alton Towers on the moon.
No, I'm saying I think a lot of extreme sports just don't do it. There are other ways you could do things because CTE is a real thing.
What's CTE?
Chronic trauma encephalopathy.
Try saying that after a few.
Yeah, I have.
Tom is.
And I just did.
The washing machine. The interdimensional calls it the washing machine.
If you go jet skiing, you jump over waves, and your brain crashes against your skull, and it's going to fuck you up. Don't do it. Go paintballing. All you're going to get, you're going to get the same thrill. You get a few.
So Dom.
That's right. That's right, guys.
The rotor
Stop
is
lubricating the inside of your skull, all right?
the rotor is fast. This spins at 35 miles an hour. Have you ever done like a tight corner at 35 miles an hour? Have you ever noticed how you can stay in your chair because the G-forces aren't that, powerful at 35 miles an hour?
Today I had to slam my brakes. I was doing 50 miles an hour and came round a corner on a major road and a fucking truck was overtaking 3 cars. I had to slam the brakes, yeah.
I mean, what speed was it doing? 57?
I don't know. I just know my brakes are good.
The fastest speed modern lorries can do. The old lorries can go much faster.
I think Dom's talking 57. About a lorry going the other way.
Oh,
it was in my lane coming towards me and trying to get over these 3 cars, and I had to slam my brakes.
And in other news, some fucking idiot pushes a peanut up a mountain using only his nose.
And also other car news. I've got a Jag.
Hobbit's got a Jag.
I've got a Jag. So DOA, if you're listening, hit me up and you can have a ride in my Jag. You'll have to sit in the back seat though.
Jag, I reckon.
Oh, a lot of people like a ride in the Jag.
She'd be like a little dog sat in the passenger seat looking out the window, wouldn't she?
What, you saying she's going to stick her head out the window?
She probably does. I have heard that. She likes her ears She likes her ears flapping in the wind.
She hasn't got big ears.
She's got boss eyes. I know that. Got fat.
No, she bloody hasn't. We've seen what she looks like.
She's boss-eyed. I've heard.
No, I am going to white knight for
shoot
DA.
McGavin. Shoot McGavin would not tell no lies.
I am going to get a crumb of pussy this way.
Have you got a fridge in the back of your Jag and like some champagne?
Yeah. Alphabet Cat wants to know what type Hobbit. XE or XF?
I've got an S-type from 2000. My friend... I
don't know what Ian's been doing, but he's got whiplash off the washing machine.
I think my friend's got a... is it an XJR? The one from the mid-90s.
Oh, yeah. The XJR is quite an old one, isn't it?
She's got the one from the mid-90s. It's in maroon red. It's absolutely beautiful. And, of course, she's got all of her Madonna tape, so she does use the cassette tape.
Oh, that reminds me of Snatch, that does. You know, when Lucky Star comes on, I fucking love this one.
Alphabet Cat says, Hobbit's going to get a free Five Guys. You know what? I hope so, because now that I've just spent the tax and the petrol in it, I can't afford Five Fries.
Can't afford to eat.
Look, we have priorities, right? Some of us like to pay the bills. Other of us have the Jag.
What was the one that Ian Ogilvy used to drive in the Saints? That was a bit weird, but kind of nice.
Well, all Jags are weird, but kind of nice.
No, the like 80s one with the oval headlights. You know what I mean?
This is Hobbit's whole plan: is like get a Jag, get women to buy him food for a ride in the Jag, profit.
No, not buy me food. Women are going to invite me into the kitchens and they're going to make me dinner.
One every night.
Right,
I mean, even Kay from Kay's Good Cooking will invite me in for dinner. I'm not obliged to eat the dinner.
Is suggesting Hobbit might get sex a conspiracy theory?
What?
Next week on Fortean.
XJS in the Saints.
Is Hobbit ever going to have sex? Cryptozoology Hobbits having sex.
What do you mean? I'm a sex haver. I've had it in the past.
Of a Hobbit in the
XJS. It's the XJS Hobbit I was talking about.
It's a lovely car.
You're a sex haver.
I don't recommend trying to flake washing machines. Doesn't matter how sexy they look.
I bet Dom slays the old pussy, doesn't he?
Just go for a spin in it.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
Unfortunately, due to a TikTok trend, we are now banning anybody from wearing a suit with a ticket for the Minions movie.
Why?
Because kids are doing a TikTok trend where they go to see Minions wearing suits.
What's wrong with
that?
Here you go, Hobbit. This is
instead of buying popcorn, they just go in with a banana, and yeah, that is gorgeous, isn't it? That's the shade of maroon red that my friend's Jag is.
Yeah, that's an extra. Yes, they get like a convertible version. There's a convertible version as well.
That is sexy.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
But if you put like an X-type Jag, see if you can get one in green. Normally they're in British racing green.
Really big fucking like bonnet, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to be a nightmare to park.
What are you talking about? It's easier than a lorry.
Dude, you could literally fucking like sleep on that. Like...
yes, you could, and you could put a six inline engine in that long ways.
So we're doing Top Gear.
Which is probably what they did.
Fortean Top Gear.
Look, Fortean Top Gear. This is one of the things.
All you need is a mattress, right? And then you could literally live in your car.
Look, chat have been saying, where's Hobbit been in the past few days? And I think public disclosure...
He's been earning enough money to get himself one of these. Is that it, Hobbit?
Well, we've been having some disputes. That's a later model. Look for like a 2000 model.
That thing.
Or a 1998 model. Now... Hemi's the royalties. I've only been getting 5% from it, which I'm saying like.
What do you mean 4%?
Yeah.
3%.
I'm gonna have words with you about your 3%.
So anyway, Hemi owes me way more royalties for the show than what I'm getting. Because I think I could do way more than 5%. I would say I'll do as much.
Are you Brutus in me? Are you?
Yeah, yes, I am. I want my dividends, you see, and because of that, I've had to buy a. Yeah. Haven't you got shares and stocks in Fortean Words? I haven't
told Fraser about the fucking dough I get.
Look, it's currently a private limited company.
You're just blowing the whole fucking thing now. Jesus Christ, Tommy. What did you tell me? No, you're only getting 2% now. Fraser knows about it.
You'll be seeing my lawyers about the 6% you owe me.
You ain't getting any more than 1% now. You tell Fraser because he's going to want his cut.
But anyway, because of this, I've had to like.
Is that the one, Hobbit? Have we got the right one now?
You know what? Let me get you
every fucking week.
Let me get a picture. Look,
that's an XF, so it's close, isn't
it? Everybody likes Jag, so this is good content.
This is why Hobbit don't need the cut, because he drives around in cars like this. Jimmy Savile had a Jag. Ian wants you to know.
Right. So, copy image, and then paste in there. Your files are too powerful. Oh, well, fuck you, Discord. Your trannies are too gay.
Yeah, 8 megabytes. I had that problem earlier.
Right, so...
Hiroshima pictures.
I
the
posted,
sovereign was nice, wasn't it?
So here's an image
you've got one of them?
It's in blue, this one, but yes, I've got an S-type Jag.
Ah, right. No, I didn't even know. No, that's not what I was thinking of when you said you've got a Jag.
Is that burgundy?
What, the previous one, the XJS, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, burgundy. I was describing it as maroon for some reason.
The second car was burgundy. It was a Citroen CX.
I gotta say, Hobbit, that don't look. That's not classic Jag look, is it?
Look, that's not a nice example of it, but the one I've got is beautiful, and if you don't like it, then you don't get to ride in it.
But
Mrs. Yes, Punk Bastardo, the S-Type is not the Ford Mondeo engine, it's Ford Mondeo mechanics. However, the engine is a genuine Jaguar V6, 3 litre. Yep, so there's zooming in on the upper right corner of the image, and then we got the whole thing together, and as you can see, that's a Jag.
Well, if you invented a program like OBS, what you'd do is you'd have the picture come on at the size that it is, like that would spill all over the sides of the screen, because that's the way to make it look good, isn't it?
OBS is a great piece of software, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
In your hand.
Like my Citroen CX, you could lower lower it and raise it and go low down, and then you go fast, or you can raise it, have 7 friends in your car and go clubbing.
We go clubbing with Dom then. Right, this has gone way off the rails and way over time. So yeah, stay spooky.
Look, there's enough room in the bonnet to have a nuclear powered engine. See?
What, Mr. Fusion? Where you can throw a banana peel. Where you can throw a banana peel and a can of
Force light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Car just runs on trash.
Anyway, night all.
Good night.